this meditation that I thought we would work with today is based around the idea that our mind wanders. So often, sometimes I teach these practices and people will say to me that they can't do it because they're thinking about something else, or they can't focus, or they're just too worried about something. So this kind of meditation they're going to work with today just allows us to notice those thoughts, those that we can't do it, or my mind's wandering away, and really see it as part of the practice. So it's not a problem if your mind wanders away. It's who you are. It's part of you. It's part of me. My mind wanders, and I think I've said it before, that the more I've meditated, and I've been meditating for quite a few years now, the more I've meditated, sometimes the more I think I can't do it because my mind is so active. But all that really means is I know when my mind is active and I can bring it back. And it's been shown that the benefits to these kind of practices, to mindfulness, is in that knowing, is we are more focused and we have more clarity in that process of bringing the mind back to our breath, or to a point of focus, or a point of attention. And it's always with the idea that being able to focus is far more important or beneficial than the object of attention. So all we're trying to do is focus. And if that does, if you are starting to focus on something inside your head, wandering, is fine. It's not a problem. It's part of the process. And the main thing with all these, I think I've said it before, is you don't judge. You don't have an opinion. You don't judge it. It's just something that happened. And in that acceptance that our mind does wander, patience arises, tolerance, and also kindness to ourselves. So we don't have to beat ourselves up. We don't have to have that voice inside our head that is saying, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. It's not there. It doesn't matter. What you're doing is what you're doing. In this practice right now, this practice is for you. And it's okay. Whatever goes on, it's okay. So you can, usually, most meditations are seated, but if you need to lie down, you lie down. The main thing is that you make sure that you're comfortable. So come into a seated, comfortable position, or lying down, and in a place where you can be quite quiet, I suppose, for the next few moments or so. And then just your hands resting in your lap, either palm facing up or palm facing down, or on your thighs. So just deciding where you would rather have your hands. And then if it's okay, closing your eyes. And as you close your eyes, just being aware of your body. What position are you in right now? If you're seated, what parts of you are in contact with the floor or the chair, cushion or mat? If you're lying down, what parts of you are resting? Is there weight or heaviness anywhere? So just bringing your attention to the experience of your body right now, and the sensations that you can feel just from being with your body. And then take your attention to your breathing. And in all these practices, there's no right or wrong way of breathing, it's just noticing. So when your breath comes in, are you breathing through your nose or are you breathing through your mouth? As your breath leaves, is there a feeling, a slightly different feeling to the out breath, to the in breath? And we don't have to judge or have an opinion on how we should be breathing, but we're just noticing how we are breathing. And where is your breath in your body? Do you feel your breath in your chest or your belly, your throat, your mouth or your nose? And there's so many different places we can feel our breath. And all we're trying to do is know. And it's that whole idea that when we're trying not to change anything, when we work at just being as we are, stress can be alleviated, worries can lessen. Because you are okay just as you are here, right now, in this moment in time. You can feel your breath that comes in. And in this moment in time, You can feel your breath that leaves. And as you sit here and practice in this way, it does become very apparent quite quickly that minds wander. Your mind wanders, my mind wanders. Something distracts us. It might be a sound or a smell, a thought or a feeling. So what we're going to do with this practice is just come into contact with that and make friends with it. So consciously take your attention to your mind, to your thoughts, and just think consciously, on purpose, think of something that happened before you joined this practice. And it can be anything. It could be something you ate, somewhere you went, something you heard, a conversation. And just noticing everything about that one thing. The tone, the feeling, the taste, the smell, the visual. If another person is involved, expressions. Just seeing everything about that scenario that you're just conjured up inside your head of something that happened before, a memory. And being aware of how it feels in your body. If you're happy, how does happiness feel? If it's making you feel quite agitated or impatient, how does that feel in your body? And all these things arise from that one thought, that one memory inside your head. And now let's change it slightly and just imagine something that's going to happen later when this practice is finished and you move away from your mat in this place. What might happen? And just imagine everything about this one thing that you think might happen. The tone, the feeling, pleasant or unpleasant, neutral. Volume, taste, smell, expression, speed, and just notice how this thing that you're imagining might happen feels in your body. And this thing that hasn't even happened might feel exactly the same way as the thing that happened before. But this scene hasn't even taken place. But we can feel exactly the same way, as if it's real. And in truth, it's just phenomena. It's just a thought, an imagining, an anticipation of something that might happen in the future. If you imagine eating something or drinking something, you can taste it as though it's really happening. If we imagine something, it can seem real. If we remember something, it can be distorted. So now, bringing your attention back to your breathing. And this breath that comes in now, whether it's through your nose, through your mouth, this breath that's happening now is happening. And how does this breath feel? And as your breath leaves, this breath that leaves is happening. And how does this breath feel in your body? So now bringing your attention to the moment of now. And our breath brings us to this moment because we can't breathe in the past and we can't breathe in the future. We can only breathe now. And your breath, this breath, happens now. So being with your breath, with the understanding and the kind knowledge that if your mind wanders either to the past or to the future, you have the ability to bring it back to the safety and the calm of your breath that comes in and your breath that leaves. And if you do get carried away, taken somewhere else by a thought or imagining, you notice where you've been carried to and you bring your attention back. So it's not a problem, it's just part of the process, part of the practice, part of you. And our thoughts are important. We're not trying to block them. We're not trying to make them any less important. We're just noticing, without judgment, without an opinion. They're there. Much in the same way that we don't have to change our breathing. We don't have to change our thoughts. Subtle shifts just take place when we bring our attention to the moment of now, to the experience of now. And it's a choice. And it rests with you. And it starts with your breath that comes in. And it begins again with the breath that leaves. A constant beginning and a constant process that ultimately gives you rest and clarity and peace. And as our time together just comes towards its close, noticing if your attention is still on your breath or it's gone somewhere else, and it's okay. Knowing you're breathing, being aware of your body, and just moving your fingers a little bit, just coming into contact with that physical movement, almost as though it's for the first time you're moving. So being aware and being grateful for simple things. Your body here, the breath that you breathe, the thoughts that you think. And just noticing how just resting with all these things in quietness and in space, I suppose, giving yourself space to be aware. How's that made your body feel? And sometimes we don't always feel calmer for it. Sometimes we feel other things, but then we just allow that to be as well. There's utter relief to be found when we don't have to judge or have an opinion or think that something is right or something is wrong. Just to learn to accept nourishes you, brings you peace, allows us to feel safe. So just when you're ready, just opening your eyes downwards. So the first person you see is yourself. So you know where you are, and you know that you breathe, and you know that you have the strength to cope and to deal with whatever life throws at you, at us. So taking your time and just coming out of the practice, and maybe just leaving with the final words. May I be safe, happy, peaceful and free. Thank you.